Give me 1 second as well. I'm trying to, my speaker on my computer is not working right now. I don't know why. I'm trying to turn on the scanners so you guys can actually hear it live going off.
Put up the volume.
That's the thing. My speaker is plugged in, but there's no sound coming right now. Normally, sometimes when I unplug it and I plug it back in, I don't get any sound. Let's see.
Okay. Well, there's a new update now for computers, right? And
yeah, I think mine updated yesterday. I turned it off yesterday. Let's see here. Just a second. Let's see if I could. Let's see if I have any volume here. I'll try to fix that offline.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Best baby F. No.
All right, guys. So let's go over SPY for a little bit while we took the fourth. Those 432 puts. So right here we have the daily chart on SPY. You can see right here we have this descending wedge right here. Right, there's a descending wedge kind of pattern.
Hey, your screen is missing.
My screen?
Yeah. It's not showing here.
Let's see. Maybe if you swipe, let's see, can you, are you seeing it now?
No. Just F, hang on, I'll get out. Oh, there you go, there you go.
Okay. All right, so let's break down SPY. Actually, let me take a look at a firm really quick, which is what we have in play. So a firm right there, the target was 150 for the option I just sent out. And you know, what are we at right now in a firm? You know, just touch 150 right there. Let's see here. Am I not logged in? Okay. Yeah, my Weibo just froze on me.
That's what my mommy and daddy took. Mommy is
Okay, so there we go. Not sure why this is not moving. See SPY here on the okay, there we go. All right, let's take a look at a firm. So a firm, you know, 150 is what I'm looking at for the option. If we can hold over 150 on the option that we just took. So the reason why I played a firm, the option right here is where we look. So once we make, this is what you're looking for when you're trading, right? Once a stock makes a new high, you see right here we have a double top, almost a triple top at the start of the day. So you're gonna go ahead, draw the horizontal line coming across. That tells you that there is resistance right here at the top. Now you look for it to pull back off resistance, and then you go ahead, you draw this trend line right here, which is your downtrend line right there. Right. So once it gets back above this downtrend line right here, you're gonna look for a confirmation. This is right where I saw the confirmation to get in, which is you have this doji right here, which is the candle that looks like a cross, followed by a flat bottom green candle. That tells us that the trend is going up, right? Then you also have another doji right here with almost a flat bottom green candle, and then it tells us that the trend is going up. Now, if you look, it's the complete opposite right here. You have a doji, a red doji, right, which is the opposite of this green doji, followed by a flat top red candle. What do we see? The trend is showing down, right? So that's how you take calls, and you can take puts, right, for quick scalps. So now that the stock is a little bit of a downtrend, but it's still making higher and higher lows, as you can see. So now we're gonna go ahead, draw this line right there. We know that once a candle, a green candle forms out here, this is what we call a higher low, which means that this low here is higher than this low right here. So that tells us that we're still looking for the stock to uptrend. Now we need a green candle somewhere around here, around 149.50, and then eventually for the stock to push back up and break the high of 150.17. So once it made that high of 150.17, you go ahead and you draw that line, that horizontal line again, because that's the high, which means we are going to run into resistance right there. Now let's take a look at a firm on the daily. So that was 1 minute time frame. This is a 5 minute time frame. You can see you had a clear doji right here on the 5 minute with a flat bottom green candle, and that right there is your signal to enter the trade. And now we kind of look for this green line here to hold, which is 148, which is a 10 EMA, and once it bounces off this 10 EMA, we're looking for a high over 150. Now, if you look, you could clearly see the trend line on the 5 minute, right? You can either take it from down here and here, you can see, that is your trend right there. So once it breaks this trend right here, this line coming up, that's where you could go ahead and take puts. Now, when you look right here, right, you see it came up here and it formed a trend right here. So it touches this line right here and pushes back up. Now you're looking for it to do the same thing all the way up, and eventually it pushes up higher. But if you look in the middle of this, what you see is a ascending wedge right here. You see this wedge right here? That's what we're looking. We're looking for the stock to stay inside of this wedge, trade sideways, kind of push up, and then eventually break out again.
What time frame are you using?
This is the 5 minute. Then I'm gonna switch now to the 30 minute, and you're gonna see the 30 minute. This is kind of your trend line right there. You can go ahead and you can adjust your lines. If you want to put the line right here on your candles on the 30 minute, you can go ahead and move it. The charts are not going to always line up perfectly. If you wanted to put it right here on your 30 minute, then you can do that right there, right? Now, if you go on we'll go back to the 5 minute, you kind of see that it's kind of off because it's not showing you where the stock is bouncing, which is right here and right here. Right, so you could draw trend lines on your 5 and your 30 minute time frames for the triangles. It's not going to sync all the way.
So if you're moving that trend line, doesn't it invalidate it when you go to different time frames?
No, because if you look right here, right. So if you come right here, you pull it down a little bit on your 30 minute, on your 30 minute, which is more time than the 5 minute, right? The trend can break faster on the 5 minute than on the 30 minute. So the 30 minute trend is always going to be you know, it's going to give you a little bit more time, right? So if it breaks the trend on the 5 minute, which is, you know, over here, right? It could kind of come down to here on probably the VWAP right here for support, which would line up with the trend on the 30 minute, right? Which most you can see right here. You see this VWAP right here, which look at this white line right here. So now if we move this right here, coming down, you're gonna see it's gonna line up right with that VWAP. If it was to come down, the VWAP is gonna be your support, which would be.
So you're using VWAP as a support?
Yes, VWAP is a support as well. It is a very strong support.
Okay.
We kind of go ahead and let's delete this and redraw it. It's kind of hard to move around on Webull. So now, right there, we kind of see coming outside of this, the trend right here, right?
Yeah.
So just have to give it some time, eventually see what happens. You know, it could do what you call a U shape. It can come down and then start to curl back up, kind of a U shape, kind of something like right here. You see this right here, it's like a U shape. Right, so it could do that just as you see right here as well. There, that kind of sweep, you could do that right here. Now, Affirm, you know, it's a good stock. We did play that one for earnings, and it was really good for earnings. Now you can see the reason why you see a lot of selling, that's because a lot of people had the 150 calls that went into the money. So as soon as it went into the money up here, you know, they took profit.
Sell off, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you please look at Beyond Meat?
BYND. Check the daily first. All right, so the first line that you are going to draw is an extended line from the high over here. You're gonna touch it right there, or you can touch it right here. You know, you can touch it on top of the candle or on top of the wick, or you can touch it on top of the candle. On top of the candle is gonna give you more of a earlier confirmation. If you touch the wick, which is, you know, resistance, that double top right there, then you're gonna have to wait just a little bit longer for a safer entry. If you take it here at the top of the candle, then it comes down just a little bit, right? But then you're gonna run into this resistance right here. So I like to put it on top of the wick just because to me it's a lot safer. So right here is where I'll take an entry. Beyond Meat is, what's it trading at now? 104. So safe entry, if you want to really wait for Beyond Meat, would be around 170 if it can get up there. But right here as well, we see this little trend right here. So you can take, if you're trying to scalp, right, with volume, you have to watch the volume, right? So this is a volume down here where my mouse is at. If you look at this tower right here, right? We saw this downtrend over here. Get a horizontal line in here. All right, you kind of see this downtrend right here broke with volume, right? So you see this volume came in right here when it was at 120, and then eventually pushed up, you know, all the way to 160, right? So you're kind of looking for the same thing over here. Break this downtrend line right here, and then volume has to come in. But if you look, there's really no volume right now on the daily. You need a volume candle like this. I don't know, you know, whatever kind of news they had over here on the 27th, you know, this daily volume candle was about 20 million. So you need something kind of like that for confirmation if you're trying to take a trade in this. For if you're trying to swing it for an option, you know, you have to do something kind of far out, like a leap or something. At least I would say 6 months, 7 months out if some kind of news comes in. I don't really know much about Beyond Meat, but I just chart it. Let's see here. So now you have all these peaks that you see in the daily chart. Those are going to be your resistances. So we know that we have resistance right there. We know that there is resistance right here. And we know that there is resistance right here at this double top right here. So, and then you have some resistance right here. So horizontal line right here. And so you see this candle right here kind of pushed up from, what is this, about 120 up to almost 140, right? Now, if you look, you see this red line right here. This is your 200 EMA. That's really strong resistance. That's one of the strongest resistance that you have. Once a stock gets over the 200 EMA, then people become interested in it because it breaks over that 200-day moving average or the 200 exponential moving average. So I have that one
I got a
highlighted.
question.
Yeah.
Okay. When you start charting, what time frame is that? Daily you start on?
Yes, I start on the daily. First thing is daily.
Okay, great. But you can draw lines on any time frame chart, right? And just
Any
go
time
like,
frame. Yeah.
okay, great. Yeah.
When you draw your lines on the daily, it should populate on your other time frames. Oh, it's not populating on here. Let's see. I don't know why, but normally it's supposed to populate on all time frames. I probably have to change the settings in Webull. So go back to the daily right here. So that this is how, let's find support as well, right? So we know that we have support. You see it right here, right? So there's support right here. And we found resistances. So now we're gonna go ahead and look for a support. Now we have support right here, which lines up with right here. And when you draw this line right here, what do you see? This downtrend line, and then this horizontal line creates this descent, right? And it's a downward wedge, right? Versus a firm, you had an up wedge, right? Which is an ascending wedge. So this is going to be your descending wedge, which tells you that the stock is still in a downtrend until it gets back above this line right here. But it needs to get back above this downtrend line with volume and then break through all of these EMAs right here. So safe entry would be 127. If Beyond Meat gets over 127, you would look to enter right here because now it's going to test this 200 EMA, which is 127.42. So that when I do the watch list, I would put Beyond Meat over 127.50, right? I'll push it up just a little bit because 50, the 50-cent mark, the $half mark, is a resistance as well. So every 25 cents is a resistance. So it'd be 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, and then the whole dollar, right? So in this case, I would say Beyond Meat over 127.51. I would put it at 51. So that way, when it breaks through the 50, we're clear for above resistance. Now, if we look, let's pull this down just a little bit right here. You saw this spike that we had here from 121 up to almost 140. Why is my line not coming down? Okay, there we go. Right, this is resistance right here. So we know that there's resistance. Well, once we break this 200 EMA right here at 127, and you enter at 127.5, your first price target is 135, this area right here. So that is the gap. You're looking for this little gap here to fill, and then you're looking for this gap to fill back up to 160. So this is how you trade options. You're looking for your charting, and you're looking for the gaps to fill, right? So enter at 127, first price target is 135, and then 160 for it to fill this gap right here. And then after 160, your next resistance is over here to the left, which is at this line at 184. And then you have resistance up here at 197. That would be your, you know, your third price target or fourth. And then all-time high of 221. Go ahead and draw that line right there is your ultimate resistance. And you know, once these gaps fill, then you're gonna look for it to test the high of 221. And if it breaks 221, then you know, and it, actually 239 is the high over here. So we go ahead and draw this horizontal line at 239. So those are the gaps, right? The spaces that you see in between the lines, those are your gaps. So one gap, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And it's crazy how low this stock is trading right now when it's like almost over $100 all down. So I feel like it hasn't hit the bottom yet, has it?
Exactly, right. So that's why I don't really know much about them, like their earnings and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. Let's take a look. So earnings over here in 2019 was, let's see right here. Revenue was 40 million, and EPS was a negative 0.14 EPS in June 2019, and then in 2000 and wait, that makes
Third quarter.
third quarter. That's really close. That was like a month apart, but that's weird. Okay. And then
What
this
is
is it.
What is the
Go ahead.
stock trading at right now?
Beyond
104.
104.
That
104. Okay, and at that intersection where the next, if it breaks that downward line that you have at the end there, right? That trend
Yes.
line on the end, and it breaks it, it would be like 105 or 104.10 or 104.50 or something.
No, it's at 120 something.
So it could be like 130 to break it.
You mean to keep going down?
No, just to
go up?
To go up. If we look
Yeah.
into go up.
120, 127.5 is where I would look for it.
And it's what?
It's 104.
Well, 104 to 127, that's a $20 spread right there, no?
Yeah, it has to have some
big
kind
run.
of, yeah, big run, exactly.
But I think this stock moves. When it moves, it runs.
It moves. Let me see the float. Let me check the float really quick. Float. Let's see here.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can check the float in Discord.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and everything else that you see, news, chart, you can pull up the charts, the inside information. I'll just follow the exclamation and then whatever after.
Ah, nice. We'll play with it later.
Yeah. And then so beyond, yeah, I mean, this stock, the float, it's a really small float, so it's 56 million shares, so that's why it moves when it does. 56 million shares is not a lot for a big company like this, because now if you check Apple, right, which kind of is around the same price, but not around the same price. Apple's float is about I think it's 17 billion. So when you talk about float, we're talking about how many shares are out there for retailers to actually buy and trade. So if Beyond Meat trades 56.38 million shares in one day, that means it's traded the whole float, which is really good, because now all the shares are bought up. So there's a lot of selling and buying going on, which creates a lot of volatility. And then eventually, if the stock decides, there's a lot of buying pressure, then the stock will start to squeeze higher. That's why people love to trade penny stocks, because penny stocks, the floats are, like sometimes 2-3 million and below. So let's see here. So that's Beyond Meat. Now Beyond Meat, if it cracks this level right here, your next psychological support is going to be $100, because of the whole $100 level thing, right? Just like if a stock is coming from below and it breaks over $100, then you're looking for it to go to 105 and then 110, right? So this is kind of the same. If it cracks below 100, you're going to look for it to go down to 95 and then 90. But let's see what kind of support we have here. So there's support here. Really no other level of support underneath. other than the psychological level of 100, there's really no support for this. Maybe, let's see.
I think it's almost close to the bottom, but what is that lowest? The lowest.
The lowest it's ever been is 48, and that was in
Oh wow.
that was
COVID?
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
So that kind of
temporarily in
negates
it.
it. Yeah. You know, with COVID, everything went down. So that would be the last level of support, which is all the way down there. You probably have some support right here at 94, but it's not really strong support level right here in 94. Right here, you see this drop right here.
Look at the bottom, the line that you drew.
Mhm.
It's like right. It's like almost right there.
Right.
Yeah. That 94 is just almost close to bottoming out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I would think this one is bottomed out. Our size really low right here. You know, still in the $42 area, but volume is really light. So volume, let's see, volume down here is about, you know, about 700,000 shares of volume each day. So, you know, if it gets a volume candle that's, you know, somewhere around 5-6 million a day, then it's gonna start trading, you know, 5-6 times the average volume, right, in the past couple of days. Because you can see right here, average volume in the past. Let's see from July all the way over until September. You know, volume was really low. Then you have this little volume came in right here, and that's why you saw this spike from 106 up towards 115, right? Because you had more than average volume came in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
this one, I would wait for news or something like this, and you kind of try to get in on the trade while it's going up. But to play an option on it, it's going to be really, really tricky, unless it decides to start forming, you know, a cup or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm looking to take a long position on it, like kind of like write it up, basically.
Yeah.
So I think right now it's still cheap to get a long.
Right. This good. Yeah, and
like
it's got to
4
be down.
months out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, you know, those ones, whenever they stay for a while, they get really cheap. You can do some leaps out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But BNYB is Beyond Meat is that plant-based meat food that they're selling to McDonald's and all these new restaurants, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
So they're making like vegetable meat patties or something like that.
Right. Yep. So let's take a look at a firm really quick. So if you look at a firm, right? See where it comes down right here?
Yep.
Right. So it's trading sideways here, and then this candle comes down right here to the bottom, right here. So you go ahead, you can kind of see that there is some kind of support starting to form right here. Now, if you look over to your left, when you come over all the way to your left, what do you see over here? This was a high that a firm had over here on the 13th this morning. So this high was resistance when it broke through, right? That resistance now is acting as support. That's why you see it bouncing right here.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it right here.
This is a minute chart?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is the 1 minute chart. So you can use a 1 minute chart really quick to find support, right? And if you go on the 5 minute, you know, it's gonna be the same thing, right? You can see right here, you know, these wicks right here. And then you can see right here, there's some support level right here starting to form on top of these candles right here. And then as you can tell, this support is also being pushed up by the 25 EMA, which is this yellow line. So you can use your EMAs for your quick supports.
Another question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you stop yourself from fear of losing out? FOLO.
FOMO?
Let's hear this. This is the hardest question, Aussie.
No, I'm trying my best because like this morning I got shook out with Upstart. Was it? No, SE. I got shook out with SE.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I got in and I took an in the money call. It was pretty expensive, $600, right?
Uh-huh.
And it took a dip to, I said, well, I'm not going to lose more than 100. And it
Yeah.
went to 150. I say, okay, that's it. Buy now. And I sold. And then as I sold it, trust me, the thing just went up past to 47. I think I got in at 47. What is SE doing now? I'm not at the computer, but anyway, so
I
it
think
just shot up from 43 to 47. So I said,
Wow.
yeah. And I said, damn. So how do you stop yourself from losing out, jumping out too quick? Is there a way to see that on the charts?
Yeah. So what time frame were you watching?
I was watching the 1 minute.
Right. So that's why 1 minute, when you're watching the 1 minute, the candles are gonna go red, right? Really fast. So let's take a look at where you were at. You were in at where?
43.
343.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you're in right around here, just as it started, right? You got in right here on this
Right there.
right on the top right here, right?
Yeah, because it
See?
looked like it was going to push up cross that resistance, right? It passed earlier the high for the day. If like I topped the high, I draw a line there,
Mm-hmm.
right? A few minutes earlier, it dipped and then it said, oh, well, it looked like it's starting a new trend there. So I got in and I looked at it, and then I said, oh, boy. But the options was melting really fast, though.
Yeah, that's usually the case with these stocks that can move, a few dollars in one candle, two candles, right?
Yeah.
So you did the right thing, which was to cut your loss. But if you were in, you have to have a stop in place. And I would look at the VWAP right here, which is this white line, and I would put my stop right here at 338.80, and I said I'd get out right here. Because if you look right here, right, once it comes up here and you see these candles forming, so you probably cut your loss somewhere around here,
right there, as it's turning
right
green,
there.
man.
So this is what you should have done: is you're gonna go ahead and you can touch the candle right there for early confirmation, or you can touch the wick. It all depends on safer plays. I usually touch the wicks. Sometimes I touch the candle to make it look more aesthetic. It looks a little bit better. You can touch the wick. So come on, Weevil. What are you doing? So that right there is your little pullback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on this little pullback right here, you kind of see you sold, right? So if you had the VWAP as your stop, you would have been saved, right? Your VWAP
Okay, I was looking at the EMA.
Yeah,
the moving average.
Right. And those are good supports as well. Those are good support levels. Now, if we go to the 5-minute chart, you want to have the 1 minute open and that 5 minute open, right? So let's take a look right here. So right there, around 341, the 5-minute candles went red, right? But remember, normally you're looking for that 5-minute candle to go red with a flat top, either a doji or a flat top red candle, right? So if you look right here, there's pretty much no flat red candles, right? Other than this one right here. And then it came down a little bit. And then, you kind of had this doji, this gravestone doji right here. But it wasn't followed by a flat top red candle. Now you can see
Are
it's
you
just
ready for us to make pizza?
bars, right? So, and then you look right here, your VWAP was still holding up strong on the 5-minute chart. Like, really strong. So you have to have the 5-minute opened up and the 1 minute opened up. Now let's get back to the 1 minute chart here really quick. So once we saw this candle, this body formed right here, then you see this body right here. Go ahead and create that little wedge, right? You can run your lines through the candles. You don't have to put it right here. You can run it through the body of the candles right here. You can do that right there, right? You don't have to put it exactly from here, right? It's just preferences. So gonna go ahead and we're gonna right there. We kind of see right where it bounced is right where if you were looking to play this, right, this is where you would have looked to play on this
Took
little
an
wedge
entry.
right here, right, to take an entry right here. Once it gets above this little wedge, this little symmetrical triangle right here, not a perfectly formed one, but you know, right here. And then if you were in the whole time, you're trying to ride it all the way up, you know, you're gonna draw these little lines right here. It's gonna, as it starts to break down, you know, your little bull flags in here, right in here. And, you know, right here as well. And then another very important line that you want to draw is this line right here. So you can take it from the wick, or you can take it from the body of the candle, you know, like this right here. Right, that line right there is telling us exactly where the stock is going to go before it pulls back. So right here, and now if you look now, right, so you once you see this formed right here, you could have drawn this line all the way across your screen before any of these candles here formed to the right. And then once you see this formed right here and it touches it, you know that there's resistance right here, and that's exactly where the resistance is at, which is at this double top right here. So now we're gonna go ahead.
Right.
This is as you're watching it throughout the day, right? You're gonna go ahead and watch.
Yeah,
draw
this
this
is two.
horizontal.
That's two types of confirmation of resistance, right?
Right. So now
You
you
got
go
the double
ahead.
top and the resist and the trend line.
Right. The double top and the trend line, right? So now you go ahead and draw the horizontal line right there. And as we're looking at it trading right now, you see what's happening, right? The double top is resistance. It's trying to get above this double top right here, and it's pushing it back down. But now let's take a look. Can you guys see what line I'm going to draw next? So now this triangle line that I had right here is going to be your channel. So now I'll go ahead and I'll oops, wrong one. Right. So that's a little difficulty with Webull. So I'll go ahead. Now I'll extend this line all the way up. Right there. That was our channel that we were trading in until the stock came all the way up here. You can see came out of the channel right here, but reclaim the channel right here. Now it's trading outside of the channel. Now this is where if you didn't take your profit, you would take your profit right here, because chances are it could fall down back to around 345, 344.
So if he owes me money, you think I can go in and put a put now?
Yes, but you know, until
That's hilarious.
oh man.
No, I need my money back.
You know, I have a list of stocks as well that you know, that owe me money. SPY is one of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, Spy. My goodness,
definitely,
Spy
man.
killed me. Spy killed me all week last week. I'm like, I had $700 and I'm like, oh my God, I'm down, I'm dying. And it's down to like $100.
What I've been doing is, like, as market close, like normally what has been happening, right? It what was it, selling off at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Right. So when I see like I look at for its lowest point and I buy a call for the next day.
Yeah.
Then it opens higher, I jump out in the morning, wait for that high, and then buy a low. The opposite.
That's what I was saying yesterday.
Favorable.
At around it was like literally at 12:58. I was telling everyone to buy a call, a cheap 440 call, and it would have been profitable this morning, but it was literally 2 minutes before the bell closed.
Yeah.
So,
no, but then even though the bell closed SPY, you can trade till for something, right? Till 4:30?
420. I know that, yeah, the exercise options at 420. I know Sparky was trying to close hers yesterday, but she couldn't.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some brokerages they operate different, man. They I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like even
Yeah, I mean, if you have Robinhood, they just suck.
Yeah, Robinhood sucks. You know,
because
they close out your stuff.
Although, like, I bought the call on a platform that told me, oh, it's markets are closed and your call won't be exercised the next day. I just went ahead and put it, and it bought it at 405, right? So
Yeah.
I'm saying, oh, so that's just like a general message they've been giving me, and I've been falling sucker for that. But in the meantime, you know, you do it once it's not 4:15, you should be able to play that market until 4:15 or 4:30, whatever the closing time for that
Yeah,
equity.
I don't know why they do that. You
Well, I
should
guess
literally
it's,
be able to close anything at least 1 minute, 1 second before the bell. I've sold
yeah.
stocks literally 1 second before the bell closed.
Well,
Oh
that
my
message
God,
means,
that's
yeah,
crazy.
what that
Yeah.
message means to me is that, oh, we are so busy, you might not get your call executed on time, kind of thing.
Then you know, they need to work on their order execution
Exactly.
because
Don't
they're
tell
gonna
me.
Well,
charge you.
because you know, since Robinhood is free trading, their order gets filled like so slow.
Right.
Like they
And
really have bad
You see that
day. Like
these
they're so
stocks,
delayed.
SE and Upstart, I noticed like the first thing in the morning, they kind of pop up. On some occasions, like when it's high, like at the night, they tend to drop down to find a new support and then shoot up right up across the VLOC.
yeah.
Yeah.
But since they're so profitable, I mean they're a little bit expensive, but they're profitable. I mean, you know, they have a lot of volatility, right?
Yeah, a lot of volatility. So you know,
So they're
they're
good to
gonna
play.
yeah, they're good to play. Them options are gonna move fast. But let's
Yeah.
take a look at AMD right here, right? So this is, you know, this is why you
AMD,
have to learn how to chart, right? So
Okay.
you see what happened right here, right? We drew this downtrend line right here. We had our little, you know, ascending looking triangle right here, ascending wedge. And you see what happens, right? Volume came in and we broke
Pushed it
above
up.
this line, pushed it up, right? And you see all the EMAs supporting the stock trying to push it back up. Now, you're gonna go ahead and you see why drawing resistance and your horizontal lines are important. When you see these little spikes, so if we go ahead and draw a line right here, we see exactly why it's getting rejected right here. Move to the left,
Mhm.
you saw this upper candle right here, right? That
Still
is
was
your resistance right there, exactly.
Yeah.
And now if you look right here in the middle, it's a
Yeah.
double bottom, a triple bottom actually right here. 1, 2, 3, actually 4, right?
Yeah.
Candles that came down on this line. So resistance here, broke
Strong.
above it, came up, but now that resistance became support. And now we're seeing that it became support right here, right? When it traded sideways right here,
Yeah.
then it broke that support. Now it came back up, reclaimed, and then broke support again, and then traded sideways. And now it's back. It's above the downtrend line, but it's getting rejected by that support resistance line, which was support, and then it was resistance again, then it was support, right? So that's why those are things that you have to kind of look for.
I see. So if she gets above that, we're good to go, basically.
Right. Yeah, but then you have this resistance right here. So now we're gonna go ahead, draw our resistance line. This has great news today, so that's what I was looking. I was looking for a move towards 110. And, chances are market makers are probably not gonna let it get to 110 this early because they don't want those 110 calls are really fairly cheap. They're about $1, I think $1.20, so $120. So they're close to in the money, right? So if you had some 110 calls and this thing pushes up to 111, 112, then your $100 could turn into $200-300, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can go ahead now and draw this horizontal line right here. So this peak right here, and then right at the high, that we had up here at 109.87. So first we have to break above this resistance, then we're going to run into this resistance and this resistance, then here, and then once we get over here, once we get over here, you have to go on your daily chart now to see what resistances we had on AMD before.
I see what you're saying now.
Right, exactly. So because once it breaks above here and you're in your option, right, you're not seeing any resistance right here on this. What time frame am I in? Where did it go? Okay, right here on the 1 minute, right? So now you have to go to the daily, and now you're gonna go
back
ahead.
inside. It's hot.
and
No.
find your resistances on the daily after it gets over that 109 area. And you can see this is today's candle on the daily, nice volume candle here on the daily. And you can see we had this triangle right here, which it broke when we played the beginning of the month, when we played AMD and I said over 107. You can see, you know, it came outside of this triangle right here, and we bought in right here, and it pushed up to, you know, 108, and then the market tanked, right? And then it came down to about, you know, actually that was around here. Let's see. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
here. We bought in.
yeah, I have a question about that. When because I had a call and it was supposed to expire this week. I'm like, cause it passed that line, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hold it. Then so as soon as it passed it, I bought a call, and then after that it tanked. I'm like, what? So it tanked.
It did.
So today I was thinking the call is gonna expire worthless because it's gonna expire on Friday. And I was actually surprised that it reclaimed it today. I'm like, it made it to 109, so that was a really long line. So the watch list that you send out, like how like are they only valid for that day or?
No. So if when we played it, this is where we're looking for over 107, right? We before the market tanked right here when we came above this downtrend line here in this triangle right here. I said over, I think it was 107? I don't have it on Weibo. I think it was 107.40, right? It was the resistance. And we kind of saw, you know, it pushed up to this high right here, 108, and we were looking good. I was like, okay, let's hold this overnight. And, you know, market, you know, it's not something we could have controlled, right? Because the next day market just opened red. We saw this thing go from 108 down to, I think it was about 102 or 101. It was down like $7 on the day. And, you know, it kind of came down here and it did its thing, right? And now we kind of see, let's take a look what happened when we came down, right? We kind of see right here. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw this line right here. We have almost a triple bottom support. So we know that AMD, the psychological support was 100. And I was telling people, like, if the 100 breaks, you know, this thing could really go down. And it went below 100. And then it came back up and it just didn't want to go below 100. So we kind of see why. Right, we have this support over here at 100, right here. And then we saw, you know, when it dropped, it came right here again. And then, you know, it pushed back up to 104, 105, and then, you know, 103 somewhere. And then it came back down because the market was red for such a long time. We saw this candle form here on the daily. So we have really strong support right here at, you know, right under 100, 99.8 or something like that. Because I remember when it went under 100, it spiked back up like 30 cents. It literally bounced and then shot right back up. Now, perfect entry would have been right here on this daily candle on the 7th, because we saw this doji right here with this flat bottom green candle, right? And then, you know, we had to move from 101 up, back up to 108 pretty much. Now you're kind of seeing the same thing right here. You have this little doji formed right here and a flat bottom green candle, and this is today's date, right? So this was yesterday, 10/12, and then today you have this. You know, I feel like
beautiful green,
right? And you know, I feel like these algorithms and stuff that they make, it's literally seeing everything is going to happen. Like, how ironic is it that we had a green doji yesterday, right? Then today the news came out that AMD is releasing their new graphics card, and you have this full bar green candle, right? So it's kind of like, you know, this like the news is ahead of time or something. Like the algorithm knows exactly what's going to happen. But AMD, so now we know that we pushed up to 109.87. Let's find our next resistance level. We have some resistance here that have, actually, let's just delete. I'm going to delete all these lines right here so it's clean. All right, it's nice here. All right, so I don't get Webull sometimes. I have to switch to E-Trade, but E-Trade is kind of laggy. So it's showing me a high on this daily candle today of 1013 at 1. Actually, let's go down. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so that's correct. So 109.87, right? Right there, right? Now, the next resistance that we see, right? Look for the candles that are lined up at the same height, right? So we see this doji right here, this green doji, this candle right here, and then this little doji right here. They're all on the same level. So that tells us, you know, pretty much down just a little bit. Right, so right there, see that 1, 2, 3. So we know that we have resistance at, what is that? 112.
112.
112. So 112 is the next resistance based on the chart. But remember, you always have the psychological resistances, which is going to be 110. There's always going to be a big seller at the 110 level. And then 111 and 112. And even at the 50-cent mark, they may not be as big as the whole dollar. Right. So those are your cycle. You have to still think about it psychological as far as price action is concerned. But based on your chart, the next resistance is at, I don't like Webull sometimes how they do 112.06 pretty much. And then you're going to have this resistance up here at 114, which is this tower, this candle towering right up here. Right. And you see it lines up exactly with this candle over here. Well, not exactly, but kind of the same, right? Right there. All right, so this candle right here and this candle over here to your left. And right here, this is where you saw this little flag right here, where I had it drawn right here, and then it eventually decided to go higher that day over here. And you can see right here, you also have this symmetrical triangle in here, right? Not over here, but a little bit. Okay, let's see here, wrong line. Right in here, we kind of have this one right here, and this is where it failed, right? You can see it broke out in this one right here, where we had where it broke out right here, and then it broke out again right here. Now this one here failed, right? You see this one here failed, and then that's when it went down. So this is where you will take puts if it didn't break to the upside right here at 111, somewhere around here, and then went down. So your charts are going to be really messy when you first start out, because when you get experience, you can see the stuff in front of you, because once you know how to draw it, you can see it, right? And right here as well, if you look inside of all these drawings, this line connecting here to right here, what do you see? That is your descending wedge right here, or your descending triangle, whatever you want to call it, right? It, pretty much the same thing, but they look a little bit different, but they're pretty much applied. They do the same thing. So you can see that right there in there, which is this line right here. You'll connect it to this line right here. You just pull it down, and then this line coming down, you see that descending, and then right here is where it didn't come down inside of the descending triangle right here, or otherwise it would have came down a little bit lower, right? So if it had broken this $90 support, or 99 something support, then next support you're going to look at around 96, and then this trend line right here would be your last level of support at 97, and then all the way down here to these levels at 94. So that's what you're looking for, but it held up. Charting takes time, takes time to spot. You're not going to get it overnight. You just have to keep practicing and keep practicing. What you can do is like Google the patterns, right? And you can come on your charts and see if you can draw them, or you can. I'll post the videos in YouTube. Videos take forever to upload in YouTube. First, I have to convert it from Zoom, and then once I put it in YouTube, they do their own little thing with it to make it HD, and it takes one video sometimes takes 24 hours. But now let's extend this line down here. Right? this uptrend line here on the daily. We're gonna extend this line right here. We're gonna see what's happening. All right, let's not mess it up. I don't wanna, right there. So what do we see right there, right? This uptrend line is literally, these candles are literally on this uptrend line right here. So now AMD, you know, back in a uptrend. So now you look for it, you know, continue. Let us extend it all the way up, to about right there. So now we're going to look for AMD to come up here, probably hold this kind of level. It may sell off a little bit. Then it trade sideways, come up with this a little bit higher, kind of trade sideways, come down, touch this line, which is going to be like around, I would say around 107, and then comes up again, and then touch that line, and then keep making higher and higher lows, and eventually it breaks all-time high. So that's how the stock is going to move if it wants to break all-time highs. It's going to keep touching this line right here, going up, retesting that upper trend line, that support, and then eventually pushes higher. And now when it gets up to this 122 area, you guys can see exactly which line I'm going to draw, which is that horizontal line at 122.49. That right there is your ascending wedge, right? You see that upper wedge right there. That's how you form your wedge. So now we look for it to trade sideways, bounce on this uptrend line, bounce and bounce like a zigzag kind of thing. Come up, and then eventually when it gets up to this area, it gets tight, and then, you know, buying pressure comes in and rips it above this 122.49 area, and then, you know, all-time high. Now, chances are there's going to be strong resistance at 122.50, 122.49, right where it came to 122.49. You know, that's kind of, a lot of times you'll see stocks, right, where when they go up, even penny stocks, they usually go up to that 49 area or right on that $0.50, and then they pull right back down. That's where the short sellers come in. So chances are, you know, it was a big short that came in right here, and he's saying, hey, I'm not letting this thing get over 122.50. Put his sell order in at 122.50, and buyers, you know, the volume just couldn't break through it because the wall was too big. Just like down here, if you look, right, support down here was 72.50, right? So that $0.50, you know, it acts as support. And then right here, you see what you see over here. You see 36.75 right there, which is, you know, what is that? The third of a dollar. So that's the kind of stuff that you look for. Let's take a look at see what SPY is doing really quick. I think 434 back. Is it back at 434 yet? Check this 1 minute. All right, so SPY, look at that, right? Exactly where it came on this line right here. This is on the 1 minute now. You know, a little bit of support was like trying to form some support right there on the 1 minute, but you know, eventually broke down right there. So there's some resistance on the 1 minute at 434.14. You can see right here. Let's take a look. SPY daily, there's really not much to go over right now. Actually, no, let's see here. So ideally, if you want to play SPY, you know, over that 436 area, which is right in here, right? You see this line coming down, right? This downtrend line, this is right at 436. So over 436 is when we're trying to push back up into an uptrend. Under that, I would not touch SPY for a long call or something that you want to play far out. I would not touch it until it actually moves above that level. So now, you know, we see that there's some support right here at, you know, 427. So I could go ahead and draw a line right here somewhere around 427, but I'll leave that one for now. Which you kind of see lines up, you know, look to your left, right over here, you know, it lines up exactly this dip over here on the 8th of July, right? That's when it came down to that 427 area and spiked back up. That's because it came down right on support. So, you know, right here under 430 area, and it gets really bad. This spike comes down to that area. That's what I was looking for. When we started selling off again, I was like, well, you know, 430 is definitely a possibility yesterday, but you know, 432 is where it came down to. So SPY, this ideally over 436. And then if you want to wait a little bit longer for something safer, this is right where we need to get over. This double top right here at 445. And then once it gets over this double top right here, it's going to make an all-time high if it gets over this 445 double top right here. So that's SPY in a nutshell. You can kind of extend this line all the way down now, and you'll see, you know.
Yeah, but while my computer was being updated this morning, I missed the opportunity for today's expiration to sell my 433 call. And I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, well, this time of day, I might as well just cut my losses.
Yeah, it's not going to really do much today.
Yeah.
And that's why the lotto plays, right? Same day expiration, they can make you a lot of money. You know, this morning we had the 432 put. Once I saw, I was on the 1 minute chart. I was actually on my phone when I sent that alert out. I wanted to get up at 6:30 this morning to come on as soon as the market opened, but I was so tired and I was like, I just sleeping a little bit. And I was on my phone and I saw everything just started falling apart right around this area right here, you know, red after red after red after red. And I was like, okay, when you see a lot of selling like this right here, exactly right here, I'll show you right here, right? You see a lot of selling coming down here. Look at your downtrend line, right? And it comes to this point right here, and you see this sideways movement right here. Take a put right here, anywhere in here, because this happens with penny stocks all the time. Because as I've told you guys, my expertise is I do options, right? And I think I'm fairly good at it. Is shorting stocks. That is mainly how I learned to trade and how I made my money. But you know, shorting is a reverse of going long. So if you know how to short, you can go long. I could do both of them very well. So this right here, once it starts slowing down here, when I short penny stocks and I take a short entry right here and it comes sideways, I know that I'm not going to cover my position, even though I may be up, you know, depends on how many shares I take. I may be up a few hundred, a few $1,000s profit. You know, I'm not going to take my profit right here because I know that it's going to fall down right here. Literally every time a stock keeps falling down and it trades sideways right here to the right, it's going to fall down again. So that's why I was like, hey, let's go ahead and take these puts. And literally that 40, right? That put went from, you know, zero, you know, you entered and it went up to 200%, right? So that same day expiration put can make you a lot of money. You know, if you bought it, I think it was about 65 cents. If you bought it for 65 cents, you know, you held it all the way down, then, you know, you walked away with $120 profit other than your $60 that you put in. So literally in that few minutes, you can make $120, right? You know, there's really nowhere else that you can make that kind of money, in my opinion. As I tell people, if you learn how to master the stock market, master trading, it can really, really change your life. Now let's take a look at NET, which is one that we played yesterday, which was an absolute beast. That stock is, I don't know, that stock is something else.
Okay.
So NET, I sent out the 150 call yesterday, and it was
Is that
around
what you want to
$300.
Do you want to go stay the night over down that way? Huh?
Somebody needs to mute.
Want to go stay all night with Bobby?
Yeah, let me mute. Who's that really quick? Not sure. Okay. So NET, when I sent out this one, it was actually
We can leave Thursday night.
someone in the,
We can leave tomorrow night.
let me mute. Okay, so I just muted. I'm not sure who that was, but just send me a message if you want to come back in on the chat. I just muted you. So let's take a look at NET. yesterday, right around this 150 area, right around here is where did we get in again? Let's see, market close. Trying to find that bull flag that we got in on. I think we got in around, I think it was around early in the morning. I believe it was right around when it was close to 150. Let's see here. That's not where it was.
I think it was like midday.
Yeah, it's midday. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's right here. Right here on this pullback, right here. Right here, I was looking for it to break and then push up towards 150, like break 150 right away. And it didn't. So we got in right here on this little pullback. Right here is when I sent out an alert and I said, hey, take this 150. I think it was somewhere in this one of these candles right here. I said, take the 150 call. It was around $3, $300 or so. You know, and then this thing just decided to just, I looked at the daily chart and this stock is up about $60 in the past couple of days, right? So it was just been on a roll. It's just beasting, you know, killing shorts. I don't know what's going on with the stock. So if you look right here on 10-4, you know, you had this doji in this flat bottom green candle, and this thing started at 114 on 10-5, and today's 10-13. So 8 days and it's up to 158, right? So that's an absolute beast of a move right there. So I was looking at that, and then I was looking at RSI, and RSI was at 70 or so yesterday, and I was like, okay, you know, it still has a little bit of room, because if you look over here, it usually pushes up above the 70 RSI, and this is what I was looking at when I said I was a little bit concerned about the RSI. But then I looked to my left and I said, okay, this stock loves to get up to, like, you know, it could get up into 80 RSI. So I was like, if we're at 70, we take an entry on the 70, we push up to at least 75, which is kind of where we got up to this morning. That's going to make a lot of profit. Because if you look right here, when it was at 70, right, stock was selling for 104. And then when it got up to 75, you know, stock was at 122. So I was like, okay, this stock loves to move whenever the RSI pushes up above 70. So that was my analysis on that one. I didn't know a lot about this stock. It was someone in the chat that mentioned it. So I just pulled up a chart and I was like, okay, let's take a 150 call on it. And, you know, that call, I think it went up to $8 this morning. So, you know, you bought in for $300 and you sold in the back for $800. I mean, I got out at, what was it, 580? I got in at 315 or 320. It was yesterday. And I sold at about 580, right under 6 is where I sold. What price did you get out, Ozzy?
I got out at let me see, where is it? Net. Oh, I just had the price. I made 250 on it. I got out at 588. I bought it at 330. So I didn't write down the entries and exits on it. I was kind of hurried. So I just wrote the price it cost me, and then when I sold it, just write what I sold it for. But I think I sold it this morning. It was let me see if I can find it. I'll tell you. Hang on. Net NET.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But you still have to hide the key somewhere in case the battery. Okay.
Come on.
Yeah. Well,
This is where it is. 1 minute.
It's like $300 for the door locker. So I'm looking for it.
I think I sold it for like 156.
Oh yeah.
150.
156 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just looked at the time. It was about 10 o'clock by the time I really got in. So yeah, I sold. I think I put it in the chat. Just sold. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but geez, look at it. It went all the way up. Ooh.
Yeah, it went up to 158. It went up to $8. Yeah.
This is a September too.
Oh well.
So.
But after that dip, you see, this is what I'm talking about. You see those dips?
So I'll
Yeah.
you
from at 10:41, right? It went down by 10:57,
Yeah.
right? Then it shot up again, came back down, shot up again, came back down, shot up again, came back down a little bit. Then it topped out at the with the almost double top, 158.
Okay.
Yep.
But those dips, man, you see those dips?
Yeah, those dips.
I want to
stock-
keep my money. That's a problem.
It moves on really light volume too. It's the volume is not a lot of volume, and that's the thing. The spread, I'm not familiar with this stock. I don't think a lot of people have this stock or they hold this stock, because if you look at the volume, it's moving with
Little or no
7,000
volume.
Yeah, so it moved
What's-
really well, which is really good.
Could you do that on the float on it?
The float, let's see what the float is on this. Depends on the float too. MET. Actually, okay, so that's why this thing is going crazy. Okay, so the float is not very small, but the stock is owned by institutional ownership is 84%. So institutions are the one that you see doing that squeeze. So that's why, if you can get in on these institutional plays, these guys have a lot of money and they can squeeze the shorts easily. So this one, that's why you see it going up like that. So AMD right there. Come on, AMD, what are you doing? Firm. Wait, what? My firm's selling off right here as well. Definitely don't want this one over 150. What kind of support we got? We got some support right here. And all right. Does anyone have any questions? Moderna. That's very, very choppy.
Sorry, I'm looking at, I was asking about Prague.
Prague, man, shorts are literally, you're gonna have to average down on that one.
Already did.
You
Average
can
some
stay
more.
around, yeah, around 2.2. I mean, it's 2.1 is a good average. Stock has great news and stuff, and you can see volume this morning. And shorts are vicious, man. You know, whenever they come out, they work together. It's like you have to be like really, really, really quick at taking profit. That's the only thing with penny stocks. Like, you have to be extremely quick. Most traders that trade penny stocks, you know, they're looking for literally sometimes 10, 20 cent move.
We could have got out earlier then.
Yeah, I should have gotten out earlier. You see this downtrend channel right here. I think it stays inside of this channel right here, you know, stay there for a few. I really think volume has been good in the past couple of days. So a lot of shares traded have really decided to squeeze, they'll squeeze. And then that DATS, you know, I think we should have just sold this one as well up at 17. We got in at 15.22. And look at this, right? This, you know, this is from shorts, literally just hammering down a stock for no reason. I can't hammer down a stock like how shorts hammer down a stock. I literally, if I see this and I'm shorting a stock, I jump in with my shares and I write it down and I take my profit. But they're the ones out there hitting the bid lower than what the stock is selling for and just hammering it down, right? For you know, kind of no reason. But just like you have people that pump up stocks for no reason, well, for their own personal gain, you have shorts that are going to come slam down the stocks that people pump up. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Just like, you know, CEI, right? You had that one that was pumped up. It's a good thing that we got out, you know, we got in, I think it was around 2.2 and got out around $3 or so. You can see on the daily chart, you know, shorts, you know, they came out one day and they slammed it down really hard. You take a look at the daily chart here. What the heck just happened? Right here. Whoa, what's going on? What's going on with Webull? Okay, right here. Here. Come on.
You see a button?
Let me just say, yeah.
I got the pink, so that's fine.
Yeah, so, you know, CEI right here. So I came with the 4.85, and then, you know, a few days down later, it was down to under $1. Shorts really came out after that one. Let's see here. SPY. I wonder what SPY really wants to do today after that sell-off. Take a look at a 5-minute chart on SPY. So, you know, 5-minute chart, kind of seeing those higher lows right here on the 5-minute chart. This is how you use the 5-minute chart. You look for the next 5-minute candle to be higher than the previous 5-minute candle. So in this case right here, 5-minute candle closes, you could take an entry on the second 5-minute candle right here, and then it pushes up like kind of right here. Take an entry on the second one, entry on the second one, and same thing here, and then you sell up into this area. That's why you can scalp and play these lotto plays and make, you know, 100% easily. Double your money. So now I'll go ahead and draw a little trend line on this 5-minute chart right here. You can see, you know, you can kind of see that little pattern right there, right? You don't have to literally go to the bottom of the candle right here. You don't have to do that, right? You can come through the candle right there. Kind of see where your trend is forming a little bit. So right there, that little symmetrical triangle right there, from your downtrend line coming down, and you have this little triangle right here, breaks above the triangle. You take an entry right here. It was at 433.6, somewhere around there. Now SPY is up to, what was it at? Almost 434. So you'd be in profit. You look for it to kind of sustain and push back up. We got some resistance right there on this level right here at 434.14 area. Then you have more than one screens. You go ahead and you switch back to your 1 minute time frame, and you watch that 1 minute time frame. You can see it's running into some resistance at 434.17 on that little double top right there. Not super strong resistance, just a little double top on the 1 minute. And you go ahead and you can switch to your hourly time frames as well. The lines are not exactly going to look as good as they would on the 1 minute or the 5 minute, your triangles and stuff, but that's fine. Your triangle is still good. SPY, this one, getting rejected. You can see when you switch to 1 hour, it's getting rejected right there on that 25 EMA. So that's why, you have multiple screens. You check, you have each time frame on your screens, and you just watch it, kind of see what it's doing. You can switch to the weekly, and you can see, week after week, still red, some red candles. Need to see some green bars in here for me to be interested for a long play. I still think the market is going to push back up higher, but right now it's still in a downtrend, so a lot of selling going on. Where there's a lot of selling, there's going to be a lot of buying. You can see RSI is at 54 on the weekly. Last time we bounced, look where the RSI bounced from at 50, right? And then over here, RSI bounced at 50. So it's still got some more selling where it could come down to 50 and then try to bounce from that 50 area.
So that second red line, is that your 100?
This is a 200 EMA.
No,
This
the
line?
one right below the yellow.
No, this is a 50 EMA.
That's a 50?
Yeah.
It looks like it wants to go to the 50 though.
Yeah, it could come down to the 50, all the way down. That's why a lot of people are saying 410. If you look anywhere, 410, 410, 410. People are looking for it to come down to 410 for the market to correct and then for it to bounce somewhere down here, right? But you can see, MACD, MACD is going to tell you when it's bullish, right? So MACD needs to come down and cross. So let's go over to MACD really quick. All right, so MACD, when the yellow line is above the blue line, which is your signal line, the blue line is your signal line, the yellow line is your MACD line, and the green candles inside of here, that's your histogram. Now, when you see a histogram, when you have 1, 2, 3, a 3-bar on the histogram, you can go ahead and take an entry in any stock. It doesn't have to be for options alone, for any stock. When you see 1, 2, 3, you can take an entry. Just like you see 1, 2, 3, you can take a put on the histogram, based off the histogram. Now, if you look right here, MACD crossed, right? Yellow above blue, and SPY pushed up. That's considered bullish. Once the MACD starts to cross, right here, you saw where it starts to kiss. They call it kissing, right? When the lines start to touch, then you wait for a confirmation for it to get over the blue line, and then that is your bullish indicator right there. Now we can see SPY's has been selling off, and the MACD still has not crossed on the weekly, right? Now let's take a look at the daily. That way, you can see on the daily right here, MACD is still flat all the way across. So until the MACD decides to give a confirmation of which way this thing wants to go, then you could trade based on that. But for now, you're gonna have to scalp. I would just scalp for lotto plays versus going for a long play or something, because you don't know where the market's gonna go right now. You can see right here, this is where the sell-off started when you saw the MACD crossed right here. and it just kept going down, going down, going down. Then you kind of see we tried to reverse right here, which lines up with these green candles right here, right? Tried to reverse, got rejected, and now we're flat. So until the MACD decides to curl back up, still bearish on SPY for now.
What's your time frame there? Is that a weekly, monthly, or what?
I was doing the week on the daily and the monthly and the weekly.
But the two of them that you were looking at, monthly and weekly, whether or weekly and daily, which ones were you looking at?
Weekly, monthly, and daily.
And how are those signals lining up with each other?
They're the same. It's still bearish. MACD is all the way down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, now if you look at AMD, MACD crossed over the signals. So AMD's bullish at this point. If you go to the weekly, it's still going to show you the same thing. Well, you can see right here, MACD's looking to cross down on the weekly. Go to the monthly here and see. And now see it, still hasn't crossed over on the monthly.
Nice flag.
Yeah, that's because you saw a lot of selling and stuff, right? So that's why.
But I'm saying it's a nice flag.
Yeah, it's a nice flag. Yeah, very nice flag. Yeah.
On the monthly, yeah.
Yeah, nice flag. All right. And on the monthly, daily is what happened today, right? So it's bullish on the day. So that's why the MACD crossed. Weekly, there was still a lot of selling. So MACD's kissing right now. So it's going to take a few days for everything to cross over. And on the 1 hour, still going to be bullish on the 1 hour. Let's see what else. What else can we take a look at? AMD, Amazon. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon, I think there's a really good play for Amazon, but it's far out. It's a $4,000 call for January 2022, and it costs $1,200, which is not bad for a 2022 January call in Amazon. Because if the market decides to pick back up and this thing goes back up to 36, 3,700, that $1,200 call is going to make you around $7,000. So you're going to pay $1,200 and it'll make you around $7,000. That call was worth $7,000 in September before the market decided to drop hard. So if it can push back up to the price that it was before the earnings drop, the option is going to go right back up to that $70. Maybe not all the way back, but you're talking about 50, 60. So that's a good long-term play.
Okay, on a seasonal chart, like if you were looking at year after year, like seasonality, all right? Does it normally push up between the months of, say, October and December for Christmas?
Yeah, market is always pushes up around that time, around the beginning of the year, right? You can take a look right here. This is Amazon in kind of March 2020. Let's go back to January. So right here, around January, you had. Let's go to December. December is usually a hot month. November, December, around here, right? So this was right around November right here. November, Amazon was around 3,100. It pushed up to 3,200. Then in January, still in December right here, pushed up to a good 3,300. Then in January, the beginning of the year, went from 3,100 up to 30, almost 3,500. And then March around this area is where it really took off. So I think that one's a good play. I don't think Amazon's going to stay down here this $3,200 for much longer, unless the market decides to really, really tank, like, drop really hard. You go ahead and draw these lines right here on your, this is the yearly chart. You could go ahead, draw some downtrend lines on this yearly chart right about there. So, above, this area, 3,360, Amazon's back in business. 3,360 is where it looks good. You have this support line right here. Is where it bounced right here when it sold off after earnings. And then, market went red again and then came right down on this line and bounced off this support. All right, so, same thing you see right here. You got your little, descending wedge right here, right? This line coming down with this horizontal line. It's inside of the wedge. So, when it gets back above the downtrend line, that's where you look to play it, right, with volume. So we're over 3,360, somewhere around there, would be the safe bet. But, people are going to trade Amazon in and out every day looking for, because the premium is on Amazon. That one could really move, right? This thing moves up 10, 20 bucks on the day easily, and you could buy in really cheap and make a lot of money on those.
Okay, so now there's a strategy where you can probably just buy shares and sell calls. Is that any good?
What was that?
The strategy of buying the actual shares by the hundreds, like let's say you buy something like 40 bucks worth. So something like 4,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, pick a stock that's in the $40 range, XYZ. You buy the stock and then you sell calls and puts on it.
Yeah.
For premium. Is that a good strategy or is that too slow? Or?
That's too slow. If you're somebody that's really, you want to make money every day, and, doing covered calls and covered puts and stuff like that. I've never done it before. I've never really looked into it. It's not something I really know a lot about. I know you have to own the stock and, you bet against it going a certain price. And if it does this, you keep the premium and stuff. It's really, to me, it's more complicated than anything. And I could figure it out if I look into it, but I'm not really interested in it. It just takes too long to make money, to be honest. The quick.
There's nothing complicated about it, It's just a matter of, you're holding the stock. Like let's say it's a growth stock. There's possibly a growth stock. So you're going to be just collecting premium, like extra premium, basically selling puts and calls. If it's going bullish, you sell puts. And if it's going bearish, you sell calls and collect premium on it every week or every 2 weeks, whatever it is. But that's probably for stock that you intend to hold on to, right?
Right. So now if you think about it though, right, you have to own 100 shares, right?
Yeah.
So if you buy 100 shares of Apple, you're going to spend a good
14,000, what,
14,000,
140?
right? I'd rather just trade that 14,000 with options daily.
Yeah.
Because as you saw, you could buy, SPY this morning, you could buy one contract for 60 bucks and make 120 bucks. So if you decide to say, you're going to risk, say $300 every day out of that 1,400 bucks, you can you could turn it around, that 14,000 around real quick.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing. Right?
Well, this is what I'm doing right now, right? Because I kind of, when I say liquidated, I kind of put everything into powder, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I'm looking at, so I can get basically in the money calls, which is a little bit more expensive, but they pay better, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, You know, but I'm so nervous in a sense of trying to just make sure I don't melt.
Right.
You know,
And that's what I was trying to teach people, people that have the smaller accounts, right? That in the money, if you understand what the in the money calls and stuff are about, right? Smaller accounts, you have to play, you want to play the SPY. That's pretty much it. SPY and the QQQ, you can find something cheap, like $60. If you're trying to spend 100, those are going to be your options. If you're trying to play something long term, like and in the money, you're not going to be able to afford it. If you're starting with $500, you're gonna have to, spend at least $200 out of that $500 to get it in the money play for something, kind of less risky. But if you wanna start with $500, I would stick to the SPY Lotto plays. That's your best option. That would be the best option.
agreed. But so if you're gonna say up the ante a little bit, this is why I was looking at like your Teslas, your upstarts, the SEs. Those are high premiums for a week.
But they pay, right?
For 1 week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little bit pricey, but they show you results if you're on the right side of it
Exactly.
in a hurry, right? On the wrong side, they show you some even worse results in a hurry.
It does, yeah. That's why when you go in, right, you have to go in with that mindset and say, hey, you know what? This is exactly what I want to lose. Once it gets to here, I'm out, right?
But that's when it turns around, though.
Yeah, that's how trading is gonna be. Trading is always gonna be like that. You're gonna enter a position, right, and you could be up 30%, and you don't take the profit, and then instantly that thing, falls down on you, and you're down 30%. Right? You could be on the right side, and then you could enter a trade, and instantly you go right 30%. So, to make it in the market, you have to have some kind of risk, because if you don't, no play is gonna go 100% your way all the time. Chances are it's gonna go 90% in the wrong direction, right? But the thing is that your risk management has to be better on the downside than the upside, because if you're wrong 80% of the time, right, but you cut your losses, say, $50 per trade, right? And you make that one good trade, take NET for example, right? Say you bought NET yesterday for, 300 or whatever dollars, right?
Right.
And it went up to 8 and you made $500, right? Maybe you made 10 trades in the past couple of days, and if you had cut your loss at a $30 loss every day, right, you would have lost $300. But guess what? Today you made 800, so your net gain is still 200. So it takes one trade to put you back positive. It's just the risk management is the most important part. I mean, it's definitely hard for the person with a small account to try to make it. That's why I'm here.
Well, it's kind of tough to get off the ground.
It is tough to get off the ground, right? But when you think about it, think about all the businesses that people start, right? To get off the ground, your business, you're probably going to be losing before you start making profit, right?
Yeah.
That's how most businesses are, most business owners. So there's always going to, it's going to take a little bit of time. And as I've said, usually what you do is you start making a little bit of money, you take your little 20% profit. If you have you get your paycheck and you're like, oh man, I have an extra $100 that I could throw in my trading account. You throw that in there, and then, you build your account. And then when you get over that, when you get up to like 25, 2,600, you have a little bit more room to play in that, 25, 2,600, you could turn that into 20,000 in 2-3 weeks if, you make some good calls.
Yeah. But you can turn that to zero in
Yeah, you can.
2-3 days if you made some bad calls too, right? That's the thing. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing with trading. There's always going to be that risk. of
But you
losing
know,
money.
I think personally,
Uh-huh.
between knowing what you're doing when you're charting, like this morning, I could have made some money with that up with SE, right?
Right, exactly.
But my risk tolerance, I don't know, maybe I just, like if I was distracted or my computer was still booting up or something, I might have been able to hold on. If I had a glitch on my computer, would have been a lucky glitch, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or something like that. But at the same time, what I'm thinking about though is between market sentiment and charting, finding the right balance. I think we could be right, like even greater percentage, you know?
Yeah.
Because like,
Yeah. Market sentiment, that one.
throws- I noticed that sentiment throws charting off.
Yep. That's why I was like, you know what? It's just gonna be SPY. I'm gonna play puts all week because you have these guys speaking and CPI data and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm thinking, uh, I don't know. I would like to just chart SPY, SE, not SPY. My favorites, SPY, SE, Upstart, and I'll throw Tesla in too, but Tesla, I'm afraid of that demon, man.
Yeah, and look what they're doing to it today. I have the put, and I was like, do the put the 785 put because every time this thing comes over 800, it comes all the way back down. And we've played it over 800 on the call, got burned on the call. So I was like, okay, this thing's gonna fall right back down. And look what it's doing today. It's just trading sideways and now
Oh
staying
yeah,
around
it's sucking theta,
810.
man. Sucking theta. Sucking
Yep.
theta. It's been sucking theta all week because it gets up
Yeah.
to like 805. You can't make any money between 805 and 810.
Yeah.
Right? Basically, I mean, yeah, it's a $5 call, and if you cash out the same day, fine. But the way they do it is overnight the moves take place. So
Yeah.
you can't trade your option. And by daytime, they bring it back within a range where you're just losing a few $100 and they keep it there. Then the next day it goes up just a small amount, but you're still losing because theta is eating.
Right.
So I'm thinking with Tesla, well, you see the earnings are coming up next week or so, right?
Yeah, earnings coming up.
Mm. But then it might just take off one day and jump $50. But then, which day would that be?
Yep. So you take a look, SPY trying to come back up here to that early morning.
Yeah, I
that early
just got
morning.
up. That's why I just sold my calls. Because you see now, this time, what time is it now? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock?
Yeah,
Another
1 o'clock.
theta, that's right. Another theta every hour, theta bites off and chump, right?
Yep.
So they push it back up just that much more, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like if I were to buy a call to expire Friday, right?
You're right.
It just might go back up to 35.
Yep.
So if you get a 33 call or something like that, might be a little bit extra. But put it until Friday's date. Chances are it would be green by 4 o'clock. Cash it out, do a put, whatever the high is. If it closes high, do a put. If it closes low, do a call. That's how I play it. So today I already lost my money because I couldn't get out in time, like by 9:30, 9:40, 9:50, right? When it pushed up this morning and it got a little boost, that would have been my chance to maybe make $50 on that day, but I missed that. And then now Theta is going to eat away all day, but she's creeping up, she's going up, she's creeping down, she's creeping up, creeping down, and Theta is just getting fat.
Yep.
So that's SPY. I'm done with it for the day. Took my little $50 loss on each call. And I'll just wait for this evening and see what she's doing. If she's going up, I don't know, maybe I might just straddle it if it's still going up because I don't trust it overnight.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust it right now for SPY. I mean, the CPI data came out. They may try to push. I think it's going to trade in the 430, 440s until, who knows? Maybe November. Maybe I don't want it to do that. I want the market to push up higher, and we can have some better
Hey,
because
not what we want, man. It's what we gotta
yeah,
technically see is going to happen. Plus, adding a little bit of sentiment with Biden guys, with these two senators causing a delay, which I think is a political play. They don't want to get all the wins in too early and just wait a little closer to the midterms, then pass everything.
yeah,
So the people with short-term memory go to the polls, right?
right.
Mm.
Yep. But I gotta go. Wash my car. Taking a little trip to this Halloween thing with my wife and son later on today.
Okay.
But I'll keep watching. I'm still watching market on my phone. I just gotta go wash the car and vacuum. So I'll be on again, not tomorrow morning, but Friday morning.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And if you could just like, I don't know, give me a heads up, like for those three, Upstart, C, and basically
Yeah.
Upstart, C, and well, we got a firm already, so
Yeah, I got you.
just because I'm looking at it, but I'm not, I don't know.
A firm UPSD over 350, and this thing starts to make a lot of money.
Which one?
UPSD, Upstart.
Yeah.
You see this right here, right? That little U shape right here. That's a beautiful shape for a new high. So this thing over 350. I'll wait for 350 if you're going to enter a call.
No sense trying to jump it, right?
What was that?
No sense trying to get in before 350. Just wait for the 350, 350, 351, 350, 50 or something like that.
Yeah, wait for 350, 351, and then enter.
And then enter to 355, right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Ozzy, I'll catch up with you.
Yeah, bro. Thanks a lot for your help and all your guidance. And I learned something new today.
Yep. All right, man.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
All right, bye.